we have to think of a long-term solution to the problem of pollution. And it's not just a problem in Bangkok. It's a problem in Tokyo. I visited a few years ago Beijing. Beijing has very serious pollution. So, and Nam, you said that we need to inform people of the sources of pollution, and we need to be willing to think about how to correct the problem. And that's a matter of educating people.
The government have to spend a lot of money for studying, reading the information about the effect of the pollution for the people, and that everyone in the city should have to have a participate to reduce the pollution right now.
Yeah, It is. We all share in the responsibility. We respond to these problems in different ways because we all have different responsibilities. But it is a problem that we all have to work together to address. Okay.
Everyone knows well that the effect of the pollution. So everyone try to have a participate to reduce the pollution.
Okay.
In the right now until the future, the government have to have a big plan, big project in the short time, in the long time.
A long-range plan. Okay. Does it help to have conversations like this? Because the objective we have is to be able to converse in normal circumstances, in normal situations. I think the practice sentences help. It helps us to understand the correct use of words and verbs, but the main goal is to be able to converse very naturally, very fluently. And so every day we'll have a little bit of practice with that. And also we're going to continue our story of yeah.
คือเขาเป็นการแต่งงานระหว่างฝ่ายตะวันออกกับตะวันตกความเป็นอยู่วันนี้
Do you remember where we left Wang Lung? You can take these home, by the way. Okay, you can take these home and read ahead if you want. You can read ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have you read The Good Earth before? Have you read the novel The Good Earth before?
No.
Pearl Buck, The Good Earth?
Page of 12 and 13.
You should have. It starts with page 1, and then do you have? And then it goes to page 2, and then to page 3. Okay. Now, you remember where we left when we started this on Tuesday? Do you remember where we left off? Where we stopped? Remember, Wang Lung wakes up, and we could tell that he was a poor farmer, very poor, because he had one little tiny window, and all he had to cover that window was a tattered piece of paper, and he was preparing for his wedding day, and it was obviously a very special day because he took a bath with hot water, and he was, see, we were able to learn a lot about Wang Lung by reading the words and interpreting the words not just what the words meant literally, but the ideas behind the words. That's what we want to do when we read a story. And I think we left off on page, if you turn over to page 3, okay? Turn to page 3. At the top of the page 3, right here, the paragraph starts, "This was the last morning he would have to light the fire." Remember that? This was the last morning he would have to light the fire. And remember, we talked about why it would be the last morning he would have to light the fire, because he was getting married, and then in the future he would have a wife who would light the fire. So we're going to start there. We're going to start at that paragraph again, and we'll take turns reading. And every now and then we're going to stop and see if there are any words that we need to talk about, or if we're getting the full meaning, because the reason we're doing this is to practice our comprehension, the interpretation of the words, okay? I will read the first sentence, and then we will start up, let's see, with Pew. I think we left off with you. We'll start with you, okay? So I will read the first sentence, and then I'll ask you to read. "This was the last morning he would have to light the fire." Okay, Pew?
He had lit it every morning since his mother died 6 years before.
Excellent. And would you read the next sentence, please?
He has lit the fire for the water and for the water into a bowl, and taken it into the room where his father sat upon his bed, coaching and proclaiming for his souls upon the floor.
Correct. Very good. Now, what we know so far is that he's lighted the fire. He's boiling the water. He's going to take the water into his father. His father obviously is not well, because several times we hear references to the fact that his father is coughing. Keeps coughing. A cough. That's a cough. And he does this all the time. The father's an old man, and he's coughing all the time. So what do you suppose is going to happen to the father in the near future? What do you suppose will happen to the father? We'll see. We'll see. Suraphet, would you read the next sentence where it says every morning?
So what is the meaning of from?
Pardon me? What was the question?
Meaning of the F-U-M-B, how to pronounce
Fumbling. Fumbling, you know? That's fumbling. 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 Fumbling, you're awkward, you know, you see, this is very delicate. But if I fumble, I drop things, you know, and so an old man who's not well, when Wang Yung takes him the cup of hot water, he kind of fumbles for it. Fumbling because you can't see. It's what?
Shaking.
You fumble because you shake. Yeah. Okay. So, Suraphet, every morning.
Yes. Every morning for these 6 years, the old man had waited for his son to bring in hot water to to ease him of his morning coffee.
Very good. Very good. So the hot water helps the father to soothe his throat. He's not well. I'll read a couple of sentences and then we'll start with Nam. Now father and son could rest. There was a woman coming to the house. Never again would Wang Long have to rise summer and winter at dawn to light the fire. He could lie in his bed and wait, and he also would have a bowl of water brought to him. And if the earth were fruitful, there would be tea leaves in the water. Once in some years, it was so. Now this is where we left off. And I want to make sure we comprehend here. He's boiling the water, and he's taking the hot water to the father. There's no tea. So that is another way of telling us that this family is very poor. They cannot afford tea leaves. What he can remember long ago, far in the distant past, once in his life, they had enough money to have tea leaves in their hot water. So very, very poor family. Remember, this is in mainland China over 100 years ago, before the revolution, so farming was a hard way of life. Okay, Nam, would you start with the paragraph that says, and if the woman?
And if the woman married, there would